Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, if you find it useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing, should a sex repulsed asexual stay, look for a relationship or stay single? So that is, should a sex repulsed asexual look for a relationship or stay single? But before we get into that, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives book. This is about love, life and sex, and it's a celebration of our asexual diversity all across the asexual spectrum, and has, yes you guessed it, 47 real life asexual stories. I'm also the founder of Asexualise.com, the founder of Asexualise Academy, and the author of this awesome fibromyalgia self-help handbook, which is how to manage fibromyalgia to have less pain, more energy and feel happy like a superhero rock star. And the things that you learn in this book apply if you've got depression, anxiety too, because depression, anxiety is a big problem for people with fibro. So a lot of stuff covered in there that you might find useful and that you can apply to your life, even if you haven't got fibro. So that's a bit about me. Let's get into the video for today then. So should sex repulsed thanks for the thumbs up. Should sex repulsed asexuals stay single, or should they think about having a relationship? Or to put it the other way, should they think about having a relationship or stay single? Now, this is a big question that pops up both from sexuals and from asexuals, and it's got two sides to the coin, this one, right? So people who are asexual, who are sex repulsed like me, I've had sex in the past, I don't want it again, I'm personally repulsed for me these days. It's obviously up to the individual where we want to get into a relationship or not, right? Because just because we're sex repulsed doesn't mean to say that we won't do on other things in the relationship, like we don't want romance, or we don't want companionship, or we don't want, someone to share our hobbies and interests and life with. Doesn't mean to say that we don't want some physical contact in some other ways, whether it be cuddling or kissing or just holding hands. Or maybe we just want to have the warmth at night of cuddling or sharing a bed or something. Maybe we want separate rooms and we don't even want to be in the same room, but we want to share a house together. Maybe we just want to have that person in our life that's a bit more than a friend to us, that we do want as a person for a committed relationship or intimate relationship with us. Maybe that's the case, and we should and are entitled to have that just as much as any other sexual orientation. Just because we're asexual and we're sex repulsed doesn't mean to say we're not valid in wanting our own relationship. Do you know what I mean? So there's quite a lot of people, sexuals for example, that can be on dating sites and they get very frustrated when asexuals are on there saying, oh, well, why, if you don't want sex, are you on this dating site? I had someone on that like that on mingle2.com, the site I was on. I'm still on there, but at the moment I'm taking a break from it. And so, it's oh, hi Eddie, as I want to be alone, but not by myself. Oh, bless you. That's really nice. Lovely to see you, Eddie. Lovely to see you always. And the thing is, there's a lot of sexuals believe asexuals should stay single if they don't want sex, because they validate a relationship by sex, the amount a person's having or not having with them, and they seem to think that anything else is a friendship. But I've said this before on posts on different pages and stuff that I post, that and I've said it before in videos, that your relationship shouldn't be defined on anything or anyone other than the two people that are having the relationship, and it certainly shouldn't be defined just by the amount of sex you are or aren't having. It's perfectly valid and fine for you to have a relationship without sex. I've said it before and I'll say it again, there are people in relationships that don't have sex, like Eddie, who's in the chat. Eddie is not asexual. Eddie is heterosexual, but they have an asexual girlfriend. They don't have sex in the relationship. I have a friend who lives not far from me who's asexual, and his fiance is also asexual. I have another friend who married his partner last year, and she is also asexual. So there is lots of people, lots of relationships that can be happy being sex free. I think it's very rare for a sexual person, like a heterosexual, to be in a relationship with an asexual person and be happy to have no sex whatsoever. I think that is very rare, but it can and does happen. Evidently, Eddie's here. So it can and does happen, but it is few and far between, right? But it does annoy me somewhat when people think and assume that just because you don't want sex and you're repulsed by it, that you are not entitled to a relationship. But you are entitled to a relationship just as much as anyone else. Eddie, I'm like Bigfoot. Yes. Yeah, you are very rare, Eddie. Bless your heart. I love having you on this channel. You're amazing. Thank you for being here. And so, you know, I have to let you know that just because, you know, you're asexual doesn't mean to say you can't have a relationship and it be a great one, you know? There is obviously pros to being and staying single if you're a sex repulsed asexual. For example, you know, you're not going to have to deal with any type of pressure for sex whatsoever. So if you're finding it difficult to find a relationship without sex and you are a sex repulsed asexual, then it can be in your best interest to stay single for at least the time until it takes you, if ever, to find someone that doesn't need sex relationship. Now, I say if ever because I don't want to promise you something that might not happen, right? I believe there's someone for everyone. I honestly believe that, right? And it might be like you meet them like 30, 40 years time, not right now, right? But I also believe there is a lot of power in being single. And if you are feeling like the dating scene is becoming intensely frustrating for you, oh, sorry, let me see what Eddie's put. If you pressure your asexual partner for sex, you are an ass. Thank you, Eddie. Yes. There are quite a lot of asses out there, I have to say, in not the nicest sense either, you know. It's ridiculous, you know. Some sexuals, they just can't live without sex, in which case they shouldn't even entertain the idea of being with a sex repulsed asexual if they're monogamous. I mean, some asexuals don't mind their partner sleeping with other people. I personally do not tolerate that. I believe I deserve as much monogamy as an asexual in a relationship as a sexual does in a relationship. I do not want my guy going around having sex with other women just because I don't want sex with him, you know? And therefore, if there's a guy that wasn't happy with that, I urge him not to even approach me. I don't want you to approach me. I'm not interested. I'd rather you go and find someone more suitable for you and don't waste my time, you know? Don't waste each other's time. Eddie, I thought I couldn't live without sex, but it was like a drug. Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, I do agree. I found that recently with dating as well. You know, I've stopped going. I'm still signed up to mingle2.com, but I've stopped going on there because I found that it was becoming too anxiety inducing for me and too horrible. You know, even some sexuals on there, was one guy on there commented like this site is where people play with people's feelings and emotions, and it's not nice. So there are some people on there, obviously, you know, saw that, you know, even though they're not asexual, saw that the site isn't good as well. So I haven't like terminated my profile. I'm still technically on there, but I haven't been on there since the 14th. So it's the 19th now, and I'm purposely keeping off it because I find that dating can get addictive, which is the other thing I was going on to, is that, you know, sometimes it's better for us to stay single or give ourselves time at least to have a good like few months of being happy being single. Because oh, hi Sam, lots of love, lovely to see you. Thanks for the thumbs up, because I feel that, you know, if you're constantly looking to date someone, constantly looking, oh, hi, Heather. Dating is overrated. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Heather. Thumbs up for that. Thank you, Heather. Yeah. I have to say that I'm Yago. Hey, can I tell you a bad thing that happened with me such a time ago? Well, I'm in the middle of helping people at the moment, so I'd like to continue my conversation if you want to if it's to do with related topic, that's fine. Well, we'll hear it at the end. Yeah, you go after I finished helping the people. Then we'll take your, if you want to say it at the end in the chat, that's fine. I'll read it out later. So basically, what I was saying is that, you know, like Heather said, dating is overrated, and that's what I was trying to say, is that dating can be very addictive, like a drug as well. And so I honestly believe that sometimes, not indefinitely, an asexual should be single unless they want to be, but I think sometimes it's better to be single and stay single and have single-mindedness for at least a time. If you're an asexual who's going on dating sites and you're feeling very frustrated, very anxious, very nervous, very worried, keep looking for someone, and it's causing kind of like an intense emotion in your body. And that's what I was finding last week. And so I've decided to detoxify myself from that type of pursuit. I tried to do this before. I'd done it for a month and then I went back to it again. So it takes at least 21 days to kick a bad habit, right? And so, you know, it's going to be at least another 21 days before I've fully like got into the sense of not doing that, you know? So it's hard because I cover dating relationships a lot on this channel, so it's kind of like I kind of feel I need to be in that scene in order to help you out, but I'm sure there's many other topics I can talk about as well. But you know, yeah, it was becoming very addictive for me, and I wasn't feeling good in my body, and I was feeling very frustrated and anxiety induced by it. And, you know, single can be a very good thing. You know, there's a lot of pros to being single. You know, you can live the life you want to live. You don't have to be on social media or messaging or texting someone all the time. You can like plan your own days and your own workload around what you want to do. You haven't got any interruptions. You can actually have self dates a lot more. You can spend a lot more quality time with yourself, a lot more time on your projects and things like that as well, which is very, very important. Like, I'm feeling a lot better over these last couple of days. I'm feeling really glad that the last guy I was interested in blocked me. I think that's done me the world of good. It's like I've got no ties to any guy being interested in me anymore. And, you know, I'm feeling a sense of relief. I'm feeling a sense of comfort. I'm feeling a sense of joy. I'm feeling a sense of relaxation. My body's feeling healthier. I'm feeling better in myself. And so, you know, I'm trying to improve my life, you know, like any type of addiction, where it's to dating or something else, you know, takes a while to get out of. Sam, I want to find someone eventually, but I'm just really enjoying my own projects at the moment. It's hard sometimes not having someone, but it's too frustrating trying to find someone at times. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sam. It gets very, very frustrating. I was getting frustrated with it. I was getting upset. I was in pain in my body. And so I've just decided to like, you know, not give up forever, but quit at least for now, you know, and I try and remind myself of, you know, some of the things that aren't good about relationship, but then I do remember some of the stuff that was good as well. So, you know, I just think if you're an asexual who is sex repulsive, find it very frustrating and not actually getting anywhere with the dating, give yourself some time out, you know, to focus on you, to focus on your projects. I know Sam's doing that. It's great. And to also, you know, to just be happy, really, you know, and to just really enjoy your life. Just really, you know, be peaceful and happy. I mean, I've finished a book today, but I've still got to do some work for it. But I finished a book today and I was really happy that I did that. It's very intense. Like, I read it yesterday and today. I read a little bit the other day as well, but it was a very intense book. And, you know, it's quite like a lot to take in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? There's like 21 things about one thing I've got done. I'm like, I didn't expect the book to be this in depth. It's a really good book. It's what I've needed for a long time, but it's very overwhelming. And so I just, you know, like, but today, instead of going on social media when I'm eating my lunch, I've just got a music video on. So I've got Mariah Carey video on at the moment, listening to her music in between doing my reading, because I need to have breaks. Otherwise, it just gets too much. And what I would usually do is switch my iPad on and switch my phone on. And then I end up being distracted with multiple conversations with people going off on tangents, which isn't really getting me anywhere. because it's so, because what I'm learning is so new and it's so much in my face and it's so like overwhelming, it just gets too much after a while. And obviously, the benefit of that being single is it means, and loving being single and not being on the dating scene is that I'm not constantly checking my phone about who's messaged me. I'm not constantly replying back to anyone. I'm not putting my energy out to someone else in that way. I'm just reserving the energy more for me and for my projects and what I'm looking to do. I think it's, if you've got a project and you kind of, like stuff you've done before, you know what you're doing, but when you're learning new stuff that you've never really learned before, especially not in this depth, it's very, very, very energy draining sometimes, because it's like it's sucking all the like bits of energy that you need to try and concentrate on what it's saying. My brain, it just doesn't take in the information like an average brain would. I don't think it needs a long time to process what's in front of its face. You have to, when you're single as well, recognize, and when you're doing self-love as well, which is very important if you are single and staying single for the foreseeable, is that you practice self-love. And this is recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses, and also recognizing how you work and you perform and what information you take in and how you learn best in your day-to-day activities and projects. So for me, for example, when I had to learn video editing, it took me 6 months one-to-one tuition to learn to use iMovie. Now I can use it really easily, a lot more. I can do chop of edits, like 32 edits in like, which is like 6 or 7 minutes of video footage, you know what I mean? I could never do that years ago. So everything takes time, and you've got to be really patient with yourself. And when you're single and you're focusing on yourself more rather than other people, it is wonderful, but you've also got to allow yourself some slack as well. If you are doing new stuff in your life to develop and grow yourself, it can be very difficult sometimes. Like I said today, it's like overwhelming. It's like I need a break. It's like I need to catch my breath, because it's like, oh my god, I didn't realize I'd have to learn all this. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like I can't breathe. Eddie, should call it internal love, because saying self-love can make others think it's masturbation. Yes, well, self-love is lots of different things, and some sexuals will think it's masturbation, but there's lots of different things that can be self-loving, and it's something that's talked about a lot on the internet, not just to do with masturbation. And I wasn't talking about masturbation. Many would think it. Well, I've mentioned self-love before on this channel, and I've done videos on it before. So, and it's one of the things I talk about a lot on this channel, because it's very, very important. Like, I didn't used to love myself at all, and I was putting it in context anyway. So I think as long as it's in context, it's, if people want to think, that's up to them, isn't it? But I get your point, Eddie. I do know some people think that, but I mean, I was talking about it in context. So if they're listening to what I'm saying, like I'm talking about like learning different projects and stuff, and having time with yourself and self-dating and stuff like that. And actually I did a talk about self-dating and self-love at the UK Asexuality conference. So I did a dating and relationships talk, but I took part in a panel discussion. This is 2018. And my bit of the talk was all about self-dating and self-love, because I said the best relationship to have is with yourself. And I actually got people coming up to me at the end of that talk to say how wonderful they liked it, some asexuals, about self-love. So it's really important. I do advertise that on my channel as well, that I talk about self-love. So on my new header, I don't know if you've seen the header a few months ago, I changed that to self-love. It's one of the topics I talk about. So if people want to think about masturbation, they can think about masturbation. I mean, obviously masturbation is a physical act if you want to do it and you think it's self-love, but some people wouldn't think it's self-love. If you don't actually enjoy doing it, it wouldn't be self-love. Do you know what I mean? Self-love is all about doing. Bravo. Oh, thank you, Eddie. Thanks. Yeah. So it was actually, I did get people coming up to me afterwards about different things, but I did specifically have these girls and they said one of them said I just came out as asexual as well. It was pretty interesting. And they did specifically say that they liked the fact about the relationship with self-love and everything, and it just really touched their heart, So I think it's really, really important because it's something that I didn't have years ago. And it's very, very important if you are dating and looking to get into a relationship that you do have self-love. So you're very strong, that you can walk away. You know, it's like with the guy who blocked me recently, I could go around going, oh, it's all my fault. Why did he do that? I don't know why you did that. But there's no point, you know, I wish him well. I wish him well. He's obviously got his own reasons for why he did it, and that's fine. And he set me free to just carry on looking for the right guy for me, or to spend time with myself and focus on myself, you know. I never had that. Also, it's why I got into such awful relationships. Yeah, it's a real big problem. I mean, I would say to asexuals to specifically try and stay single until they've got self-love. Well, to anyone really, but as this is an asexual channel, you know, because I think any asexual should stay single until they really do love themselves at least as much as they possibly can, you know, because it, like Eddie said, it's a target for bad relationships, you know. Like, there's always red flags you can see even from the beginning, you know, and we choose to ignore them for one reason or another. And a lot of the time it's because we fear losing the person when we don't even really know them. And it's probably because something's lacking in our life, you know. And obviously with asexuals, sometimes we do just want a cuddle or a kiss or holding hands. We do want that tenderness. And I do think that is a major part of why asexuals look for a relationship, the ones that do, you know, is we really, really want that closeness, the physical as well as the emotional closeness as well. Heather, a list self-love could mean to be your best friend. Yes, Heather, definitely means to be your best friend as well. Like, it's very important to be your own best friend. Like, I coach myself regularly. Like, every day I've kind of got this person in my head coaching, but I also know that I can be very self-critical. I've had a few days where I've been learning new stuff, and like my mind has been very self-critical. It's been like, oh man, you know, it says all the negative stuff, which isn't good, but I notice it and I'm like, but then you got to be careful that you don't self-criticize yourself, that you're self-criticizing yourself. So you kind of just got to go, all right, I criticize myself there, and kind of let it go. Talking to yourself, yeah, I talk to myself in my head a lot, and also speak to myself verbally out loud quite a bit as well. But you know, you have to notice your self-talk. If you notice your self-talk, you know what state you're in. You know, like I noticed today I was really like, you know, because I know, I mean, I can't quit, but you know, in my head it's like, oh my goodness, this is just too hard. How am I going to ever learn all this? Like, I want to speed it up. I want to be one of those people that can like speed up the information and read it really fast and take it all in, but it's not how my brain works. You know, I've known it for a very long time. My brain, I can see words in front of me and I can read it, but I have to read something at least 3 times usually to take it in. I have to write it all out, and even then my brain won't take it in, and it might put a book down that has the answers that I need and then go off and do something else months later and remember that I've read it in the book. It's like, well, why didn't you do that? And I don't know why my brain's like that, but you have to really understand yourself. And part of self-love is spending time in your own company and getting to know your weaknesses, your strengths, and getting to understand yourself, even if you don't totally understand yourself. Does that make sense? So you've got to actually know what you're like, you know, even if it's not necessarily the best. Like, you know, like I know I'm a kind-hearted person, right? And I know that I like to learn things and develop and grow myself, but I would say that I can be slow to learn things. But once I've got the thing, once I really, really understand it in depth, that's it, I'm away. Like I'm often can excel the person that taught it me in the first place. I can kind of do a better job of teaching it than they did. Not with all case scenarios, definitely not. But there have been times when I have done a better job than the person who's taught me in the first place. Like when I learned iMovie, for example, after 6 months, honestly, I didn't understand it till like, I think it was a week before or 2 weeks before I was due to finish the one-to-one training, because I paid for it up front and it was coming to a close and I couldn't renew it again. And I just like, it clicked after 6 months, and I went and showed this guy and said, this is what I did at home on the memory stick I bought in. And he's like, how did you do that? Even I don't know how to do that. And I teach this stuff. And so do you see what I mean? So when my brain works, it's great, but it takes a very long time. And it's very hard when you're trying to learn new stuff because you know it's going to take time. Now I kind of just want to speed it up. It's like, oh come on, it's May now. I want to get this finished and get on with something else in June. But it's like, you got to be patient, Sandra. If it's taking a while to get it, you can't force it. Do you know what I mean? Eddie, as I mentioned once, I looked in the mirror once and said, "You are garbage," and the shiver up my spine really messed me up. Oh, bless you, Eddie. Yeah, don't ever say that about yourself. It's not good, you know. When we think bad of ourselves, when we're not happy with ourselves, it reflects in our relationship with others, you know. It reflects in the way we react to other people. It reflects in our own life. 21 years ago, I'm glad you're not like that anymore though, Eddie. You know, you've done a lot to improve yourself. I think you should be really proud of yourself. A lot to improve yourself, you know. It's really, 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 really good, you know. And I think we have to like cut ourselves some slack if we're trying to self-improve well, because it is hard. It's hard work improving yourself, you know. It's not an easy task. Like, you know, I do get a bit like energy drain when I'm trying to learn something new that is so different to what I'm used to doing. Or there's so much to learn. Like, I can believe there was like 21 things you need to know about one thing. It's actually creating bullet points if you want to know. I'm like, how is there 21 things to learn with a bullet point, for God's sake? Excuse my language, sorry. But it's like, how is there 21 things to learn about the one bullet point thing? And there's more, but this is the 21 that's in the book. And I'm like, what? And so yeah, when it's been like that, it's like, oh my lord, this is gonna take a long time to learn all this stuff. Like, and it's like, I don't know what I'm meant to learn just as a beginner in comparison to what you're posting, because I guess like a lot of it's advanced techniques, but it's like piled into beginner, medium, advanced, all in one book. And I'm like crying out loud. I'm like, I wasn't expecting this. It's good, but because it's what I've always needed to learn, but it's kind of like far out stuff like I'm not used to. I'll get used to it. It's all a matter of whenever you're doing something new, it's about getting used to it, isn't it? It's like, you know, like when I first split up with my ex, well, he split up with me, should I say, in 2011, I promised myself that I would try my best for a whole year to be single. That was absolutely really difficult for me. I would try not to be in a relationship with someone for a whole year. And I used to often have 3 guys interested in me at once. And it was like that was October 2011, and I did start dating again. Well, I started dating, I think it was October or November 2012 when I started actually dating. I mean, I'd never really done dating, and I always got into a relationship straight away, but I'd made sure that I was happy being single and that I was a strong person, that I wouldn't be in a relationship or date anyone for a year. So I was purposely trying to stay single. And that was actually hard for me to do, but I managed to do it. So, because I get a lot of attention, you know, from guys. So that was really difficult. But I do think that if you're feeling frustrated with dating and you're feeling really upset and in pain, then I do think it's better if you stay single for the foreseeable future if you're asexual. Not because you should have to, because I don't believe any asexual should have to stay single. I think an asexual is much more I think just as much entitled to being in a relationship as a sexual person is. But if you're feeling bad and if you're feeling ill over it and the situation is making you really upset and in pain emotionally and therefore physically a lot of the time, I think it's good to have a break and stay single at least for the time being and look towards yourself and your own life and developing, growing yourself and taking time out for you and you know, seeing what happens rather than just pursuing something that's making you not feel so good for the time being, you know. And I definitely do not think an asexual who's sex repulsed should get into a relationship with a sexual who wants sex. And if the sex repulsed asexual wants a monogamous relationship, just don't get involved with that person. Don't be friends with them. A lot of the time when sexuals say, "Oh, just be your friend," then it's like, no, they're hoping you're going to change your mind. They're looking to have sex with someone else and asexual friends benefits with you, right? Just cut them off, you know. For the amount of people I got on the sexual dating site mingle.com who said, "Oh, right, but we can be friends," I would have had like 20 friends at least by now. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're not true friends. They're just guys who really, really just want to do stuff to me. You know, you have to make the sensible informed decision and choice that, no, I don't want to be your friend, thanks, but I'm actually looking for a relationship without sex. That's what I came on here for. So you're clearly not looking for that. So we'll part ways. You have to be adult enough and brave enough to say that. There's so many asexuals I see that are like, oh, well, he said just wants to be my friend then because we can't have sex. I'm like, don't put up with that. Don't put up with that. It's going to cause you a lot of emotional pain and upset a lot of the time. Just let the person go. Let you go to be finding the right person for you. Like, we've got to cancel off and cancel out of a lot of the people that aren't going to be right for us in a relationship. Unfortunately, anything is a numbers game. The more people you cross off your list for being the wrong person for you, the more you are having the luck and chance and opportunity of meeting the right person for you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Love you dearly. And the right person cannot come along if you're still being friends with, like, say, multiple people who all have really a sexual invested interest in you. And even if they're not having a sexual stuff with you, they'll have the emotional connection. I have to say that asexuals are very, very good at maintaining, sustaining emotional connections. We love through emotional connection. It's how we love. It's very different to loving through sexual attraction, right? We love through this emotional connection. Now, a sexual could have an emotional connection with you, which makes you feel love towards them of the maybe even romantic kind, whilst they are then having sex with someone else, but they still got this connection with you and they're enjoying that connection because maybe in the sexual relationship, they're not getting that, which is why you end up becoming their friends with benefits, or should I say their benefit of being friends with you. Do you know what I mean? You're like emotionally feeding them. Do you know what I mean? Like any addiction, they're addicted to being emotionally fed by you, like a goldfish having its fish food. It's like popping up. I want my fish food now. Right, I've got my fish food. I'm going back in my pond. I mean, I'm going back to my sexual, but I just get some fish food over there. Plenty of fish, called plenty of fish for a reason. So you've got to be very mindful and very wary of that. Don't let yourself be used. It's very important. I do worry about asexuals being used, because a lot of asexuals, they don't realize what sexuals are like. They even, they think they're more sweet and or innocent when they say, let's just be friends. And a lot of them aren't, unfortunately. I'm not saying that some sexuals can't be friends, but the majority of sexuals, they do have something called sexual attraction, which does make them a lot more usually than just friendship with you. And it always, like, if you're an asexual person that falls in love with a sexual and they're in a relationship with someone else and you want a monogamous relationship, you're always going to be having your heartstrings pulled. You're always going to be a bit sad and thinking, oh, why can't they love me without sex? Why do they need to be in a relationship with that person? Why can't it be me? And you're going to get a lot of pain with that. And so it's better just to let it go, and be happy being you and be happy being single, at least for the foreseeable future. And and then you can still look around for other people. You can still look around for someone else, but you're not going to be able to look around or really want someone else or think about someone else if you're still hankering after this other person. I meet a lot of people who have still got their ex in mind. I mean, a lot of asexual guys that are still like that. It's like, oh, I want my ex. I wish I was with my ex. It's like you left your ex for a reason, or your ex left you for a reason. And it's usually that you weren't compatible in some way. If you're compatible, if everything was great, you would have stayed together no matter what. But you didn't. So it wasn't right. So move on. Move on emotionally. Open your heart to another person. Don't close it to just this one person. Will be so heartbroken that you'll never, ever, never, ever want anyone else. It's like the mingle2.com that I was on. There was that guy who connected with me on Facebook, and then he started telling me all about his ex-girlfriend that was now married to someone else, but he still chats to her all the time. They still exchange photographs all the time, video chat. And it's like, what? So he only wanted a friend because basically his heart belonged to that woman. It's like, for goodness sake, she's married. She's married now, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what the heck are you doing? She's married. She's not going to stop being married to this guy. What, you're just going to hold your heart out for her forever? It's like, move on. Do you know what I mean? Move on. So, that's what I'd say. If you are heartbroken over someone else, get a life of your own. Get interested in your own hobbies, goals, ambitions, and dreams, and let the person go from your heart. Realize that they weren't the right person for you to be in a relationship with. If they were, you'd still be with them. So why is it important for an asexual to stay single sometimes? It's important if you've been in a relationship and your heart's still longing after that other person. because there's no point in getting into a relationship with someone else because your heart belongs to another, and therefore you can't fully love the person in front of you. So in that respect, you should stay single until you can sort your heart out and stop it pounding or pining for the other person that's gone from your life. And you lose logic and think, well, they're the right person for me, we'd be together right now. We're not. And all the excuses under the sun you can make for that person or yourself, by the end of the day, if you want to be with them, you'd make it happen, you know? You would make it happen. So it's better to let them go. You know, if you're feeling, like I said, anxious, nervous, worried, stressed about dating, give it a break for a while. Stay single for at least a while, you know? Give yourself a target of, I don't know, a month off dating sites to actually, you know, like recalibrate yourself and, you know, hone in on your own desires, goals, ambitions and dreams of the non-sexual type, you know? And know that if you are a sex repulsed asexual, you can find someone to love you without sex. It's just going to be a lot more harder. And the most important thing is for you to love yourself, like I was talking about a few moments ago, you know? The most important thing is you love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you know, it's not going to bode well. You know, I see some people on Facebook, for example, they're like, oh, I hate myself. I'm horrible. I hate myself. It's not attractive, you saying that. You're basically saying to someone, do not come near me. Do not have a relationship with me because I'm unlovable. Nothing's good about me, so don't come near me. That's what you're saying. And then you expect someone to love you in that way. But how can they? I didn't realize this. I used to be that type of person. I used to be the type of person that didn't like myself, didn't like my life, and would think no one loves me, no one wants me. And I would be like really upset, and I would think, I don't understand why no one wants me, you know, and they should want me at my worst, you know, to love me at my best. And I, to a certain extent, I think someone should still love you through good times and bad times. But if you're every single day is your worst because you hate yourself and don't like your life, or don't like yourself and hate your life, or whichever it is, if you're negative about yourself all the time, you're basically saying to someone, don't come near you. You know, when you see like an ad to buy something and they give you all the reasons of benefits of why you should buy the product, and they give you all the good reasons you should buy it, it looks really good and you want to buy it. When someone does the I don't feel worthy of a relationship, I'm ugly, I don't like myself, you're doing the opposite. You're doing that ad basically to stay away from you, to not come near you, to repel people. It's like you've got a placard, a virtual placard going around saying, do not come near me. I'm unlovable. I'm ugly. No one likes me. Do not come near me. You know, and when you've got so many problems going on like that in your own life, you can't expect them to offload them all to the new person, because it's not fair. But I didn't know this years ago. I was one of those people. I admit I was a very depressed person. I didn't like myself. I didn't like my life. And I did used to go around thinking I wasn't very good looking and stuff like that. You know, and I was very down on myself and down about my life, and you know, I just was one of those people. But I'm not like that now. I'm the opposite, because people get attracted to people who make them energized, who are happy, who are optimistic overall, who feel good about themselves, who love themselves, and therefore you're more attractive to be in a relationship with. You draw people towards you because you have something to offer them. Even if it's not loads of money or even a house, you can offer them the optimism. You can offer them the momentum of helping them in their life. You can offer them the friendship. You can offer them the enthusiasm in life. You can offer your support and your stability. You know, but you're not stable if you're not loving yourself and caring about yourself. You're up and down all the time, your mood, you know? So you've got to be really, really, really thinking that if you know, if something's not right about yourself, if you're feeling bad about yourself, you need to actually take time out from dating and focus on yourself, focus on your life, focus on getting in a better way and mindset for yourself, so that you can give yourself to other people. You can't give to other people if your tank's empty in yourself. So if you don't feel good about yourself, you've got nothing to give to someone. Like I said to someone the other day, like there was an Indian guy who connected with me, who were just friends. We couldn't be any more because he can't move, etc. So but he's like, you know, I don't, loads of women are after money all the time. I'm not I'm like a poor boy type thing, right? And so I said, you know, I'm not one of those women that's, you know, like go around thinking about money. But obviously, you know, I don't want a guy, I pay for my own way in life, so I expect a guy to be able to do that for himself. But I'm not like the type of girl that needs like a guy to have shed loads of money, right? Because I see through that. but I said to the guy that you need to have other things in your favor. If you don't have the money that a lot of girls go after, or the car or whatever, or the you need to have other things. And he's like, what? I said, you need to be emotionally supportive of the girl. You need to be stable for her. You need to be like monogamous for her, not after other women. You need to be like her strength. You need to support her in her career. You need to do be emotionally supportive for her, and have deep and meaningful conversations, this type of thing. So just because a person hasn't got loads of money, it doesn't matter. It's if you've got something else to offer. If you've got nothing to offer in a relationship, where it's moral support, emotional support, if you've got nothing to offer, why should they be in a relationship with you? Everyone in a relationship is getting some value from each other, whether they know it or not, consciously or subconsciously, right? So you have to be creating value for each other. What I mean by value is give a person a reason to want to stay in that friendship or relationship with you, right? It's like benefits mutually without you even realizing it. People don't realize this. It's because I study quite a lot of psychological stuff, right? And so it's like if people make each other happy in a friendship or relationship, that's giving to each other. You're making each other happy. Do you see what I mean? But if you've got a person who needs to work on themselves, they're feeling so down, they're like depressed all the time about themselves, they think they're ugly, they don't appreciate themselves, they don't like themselves, or they don't like their life, what have they got to give to someone else? Because it's all about them. And I know, because I was that person. I used to think about me. I used to be withdrawn and think about me in a negative way, not a positive way like now. Well, sometimes I'm negative still, but it's about when I'm negative, it's about stuff that's that's like I'm trying to learn new stuff. It's still not good to have negative thoughts, but it's not negative as in I don't like myself. It's negative as in, Sandra, you should be quicker than this. That's a negative thought still. So I still got to work on that, and be patient with myself. I'm a work in progress like everyone is. But what I mean to say is, like if you're just so like, oh, I'm ugly, I don't like this about myself, I don't like this about my life, you've got nothing to offer a person. There's nothing there. There's no good things that's helpful to another person. Do you see what I'm saying? And I've met some people like this in some asexual groups. They are so down on themselves, they don't have anything to offer someone else, right? And everything is kind of an exchange of energy, an exchange of value, an exchange of something, even if you don't realize it. People stay in friendships when people are getting something out of the friendship, whether that's emotional satisfaction, whether that is support, whether that is understanding, whether that is like-mindedness, whether that's ethics and morals that are both recognized as being the same or similar to each other. These things are all exchange of value. It's like bringing something to the person that's making an improvement in their life, or keeping it in a happy, good state in some way. Do you see what I mean? But this is what most people don't understand, because they don't study psychology stuff like I do, right? And no, I haven't got a psychology degree. So one of my friends said, "If you've got a psychology degree," I'm like, "No." Or I should have a degree in psychology. I'm surprised you not, type thing. But I'm like, no, I've not officially studied psychology, but I do a lot of other like videos and books and training on it, and I've just learned so much, and I kind of understand it on quite a deep level. So so this is why that it's very important, if you are one of those people who's depressed, like I used to be years ago, if you're one of those people that doesn't feel good about yourself and has a lot of issues with yourself, please do work on yourself. Because if you do want to get into a relationship later on, which you're perfectly valid to do, you need to actually lift up your own life and be really loving and caring towards yourself and build yourself up. So as well, that you're not a doormat. Like Eddie says, you're more likely to get into relationships that aren't good relationships for you if you feel down about yourself, because you'll think you'll put up with anything. You'll just be like a doormat. You'll be like, oh, okay, the person's doing bad stuff, and you'll ignore it because you'll fear of losing them. You'll think, well, I'm not worth anything anyway, so why should I kick up a fuss? Why should I say, don't do this and don't do that? Why should I say to leave them or stop the relationship because I'm not worthy to do that? But you are, you have to be willing to walk away from any relationship or even friendship that's bad for you. I've got good friends now. In the past, I didn't. And I'm glad that I left those friendships behind that were no good for me, that were one-sided. I'm really glad about that. But it takes courage to do that, right? So please, stay single if you're being, in a like a very upset state for the time being until you've at least calibrated yourself back into feeling good about yourself, your life, or in general your health and well-being and emotional state, you know. And like, look at the lots of benefits of being single. You can do what you want when you want. You can live the lifestyle you want. You don't have to think about anyone really but yourself. You can enjoy like your pursuits, your hobbies, your interests. You can, you know, if you've ever been in a relationship that wasn't any good, you can think, God, I don't have to put up with any of that type of thing anymore, you know. And you can look to the fact that, you know, the world's your oyster, right? If you're not in a relationship, you can go anywhere in the world, really. You can do what you like, do you know what I mean? And so you've got total freedom, really, to spread your wings and fly, you know? And I believe everything happens for a reason. So, you know, if I'm single right now, it's because I've got to be single. I need to be single. God's got plans for me that even I don't know. Well, I probably do have an inkling. It's probably way out of my comfort zone, but I'm going for it. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to the rest of this year. I hope I do speed up a bit on learning the stuff I need to learn, but I've just, you know, if it happens slower, it happens. So I just have to accept that of myself as part of my self-love journey. So anyway, I've really appreciated you being here. If you've got any more thoughts or anything you want to share before we go from this video, but I hope you've understood the message that asexuals are just as valid, including sex repulsed asexuals, as much as a sexual person in having a relationship, in pursuing one. But if in the pursuit of a relationship you're not getting the person that's right for you and it's making you feel bad, anxious, nervous, you're not feeling good about yourself, then, you know, give dating or looking for a relationship a break for a while and focus on being single again, enjoying your single life again. And if you don't like yourself or your life, please work on yourself before you think about getting into a relationship and dating, because otherwise you'll end up with a person who's not good for you, because you'll just accept, you know, whatever comes along, and that's not good for you. So I hope you've really understood this video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you found some value in it yourself. If you have, please give a thumbs up. I want to thank everyone who's given the video a thumbs up tonight. I thank you so much for all the contributions I've had tonight from everyone in chat. Thank you so much, Eddie. Lovely to see you as always valid points, and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Sam, best buddy. And thank you so much, Heather. It's lovely to see you. I always love Heather's support as well. Eddie and Heather on Asexual, and so it's really nice that they support us on this channel. I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And Yago, thanks for tuning in as well. I really appreciate you. Hopefully I'm going to hear your story sometime, and but obviously I hope things get better for you and your life is good now. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, posting a video. Love you to bits. Thank you. Oh, take care, Sam. Bye, Heather. Yeah, you go, Eddie and Sam. Bye, everyone. Lots of love. Bye.